Roman Abramovich has released a club statement confirming that he will sell Chelsea Football Club. He says, I would like to address the speculation in the media over the past few days in relation to my ownership of Chelsea Football Club. As I have stated before, I have always taken the decision with the club's best interest at heart in the condition of the situation. I have therefore taken the decision to sell the club as I believe this is the best interest of the club, the fans, the employees, as well as the club's sponsors and partners. As we spoke about on the Football Terrace earlier on today, I spoke to somebody at Chelsea who confirmed. Some people have given us some stick for it, for reiterating what other journalists have said, but I was just confirming that somebody at the football club told me that Roman Abramovich will be seeking to sell the club. And of course, he's looking to sell it. And there are still hurdles to jump. He still has to find the right buyers. They still have to ensure that transactions can be done between Roman and the new buyers, should there be any sanctions that don't currently impact Roman Abramovich. So there are still some hurdles for Chelsea to cross and some things for him to jump through. He will be maintaining an element of ensuring that he only sells to somebody with the best interests of the football club at heart. And he has stated that in his statement, as you can see here, the sale of the club will not be fast-tracked, as confirmed by the Football Terrace earlier, and will follow due process. I will not be asking for any loans to be repaid. And I think that's the most important thing there. That was one of the very biggest issues that could have really impacted Chelsea, was the £1.5 billion debt they owe him on paper. But it was always on paper. And Roman is essentially, I don't know how he does this. Technically, this will be for a very clever accountant, will write those debts off. He says, I have instructed my team to set up a charitable foundation where any net proceeds with the sale will go to. So any profits he makes from the sale of this club will go to a charity. The foundation will be for the benefit of all victims of the war in Ukraine. So again, Roman doing a very honorable thing here. Any money that's made, any profit that's made through the sale of the club will go to victims of the war in Ukraine. This includes providing critical funds towards the urgent and immediate needs of victims, as well as supporting the long-term work of recovery. He says, please know that this has been an incredibly difficult decision to make, and it pains me to part with the club in this manner. However, I do believe it's for the best interest of the club. And as Jess and I spoke about on the Football Terrace earlier on today, this could always very well have been the case that none of us really know what's going on behind the scenes. None of us really know what's been said between Roman and the government. There is talk of some to and fro. Maybe there's a case of Boris saying, look, we're going to have to sanction you. Can you get the sale of the club done before we do it? I wouldn't be surprised if a deal like that happens, off the side of a table, and that's why this is being done. The most important thing is here, though, it isn't being fast-tracked, and that's exactly what, we tweeted earlier on today. Roman is going to bid and reject any bids that are below the valuation or with bad owners, because he wants to show, it isn't not just to show, it is to show the fans that he cares. And that's also because he does care. I might have worded that a little wrong. I'm not a journalist, but essentially he knows he has to do this now because, the political situation is going to dictate it, but he's doing the right thing by the club. He says, I hope that I will be able to visit Stamford Bridge at least one time to say goodbye to you all in person. It has been a privilege of a lifetime to be part of Chelsea FC, and I am proud of all our joint achievements. Chelsea Football Club and its supporters will always be in my heart. Thank you, Roman. That is what he's had to say. And look, I know for Chelsea fans, it's going to be an absolute horrendous day for them to see him go. Of course, all of this pain and suffering of Chelsea fans pales into insignificance when you compare it to the atrocities currently going on in the Ukraine. But of course, it's a sad day for Chelsea fans. And I think as a sports channel, football channel, and that speaks about this, I understand Chelsea fans' frustration. There's no doubt. Yeah, I absolutely get the frustration. I'm seeing the comments here. Devine says, terrible day. Just here. Alex says, what the F? If you're tuning in, Alex, he's saying his club is dead. You're dead. Your club isn't dead. Let's be very, very mindful of that. Let's be very, very mindful of that situation there. Dill says, all rivals will laugh You all want Roman Abramovich to sell the right people. Listen, and this is the thing: they might end up with better owners. Like, this is why, like, for me, even if you're a rival and you're like, this could be really good for us, I want to celebrate this. It's a good thing from a sporting point of view. Chelsea might not be as strong or as powerful. Nobody knows how it's going to go. Could get better. Could get worse. Could, could go in all sorts of directions. I do want to say here, oh, wow, look at this. This is, the other day when it said that Chelsea isn't for sale, and I said to everybody, like, just hold your horses on saying Chelsea isn't for sale, just because of one news report here. Because, I mean, this here is going to, some tweets are just not going to age well here. Sky Sports, Chelsea are not for sale. Roman Abramovich is not calling in any loans. He got that right. He is stepping back from involvement in the day-to-day running of the club. There's always a chance the sale was still going to happen. And it has done. Well, it hasn't gone through yet, but the club will be sold, which is painful for some people. There's no doubt. Chelsea have just got to make sure now that they go out and they get the right owners in. That's all that needs to happen now. That's all that needs to happen in relation to that. So, yeah, I get the frustration. I really, really do. A super chat here says a lot of mixed emotions for Chelsea fans. We care about the Ukraine, which is a bigger picture, but still feels a low day with Roman Abramovich. And listen, that makes sense. You can feel more than one thing at once. It's often been the case, that every day of my whole lifetime, there's been an atrocity somewhere in the world. That doesn't mean that if I don't get a job promotion that I want, I can't feel sad. It doesn't mean that if I lose something like a phone, I can't be upset and annoyed about it. I think we sometimes have this, social media has done this to us, where it's almost, we have to, like, if something's trivial compared to a bigger problem, we shouldn't be upset about it. And I don't necessarily, that just isn't true. It isn't human. It isn't how we're operated to work. There's no doubt about it. Roman sells Chelsea and donates all the proceeds to victim of the war in Ukraine. Yeah, and I think it's a very generous and very, very nice move from him at all. Very, very nice move from him to go out there and get that done, and support it like that. Chelsea could be Spursy very soon. Look, I don't think so. I don't see Chelsea having this massive fall off in the short term. I just don't. I don't think it's. I just don't see that happening personally. I think that Chelsea will get themselves through this. I think Chelsea will get new owners in. They'll get good owners in, and they'll move on from that point. That's what they'll do. They really, really will. And, rivals, of course, want it to fall apart. Rivals want it to crash and burn. Rivals want it to die. Rivals want it to fall apart. And I get that, and I understand it to a large degree. However, I don't think right now is the right time to celebrate as a rival. And equally, we have no idea he's coming in yet, so keep your powder dry. I wish the Glazers were Russians, is what Nabil says here. Let's have a little look. Have Chelsea been sold yet? No, not yet. But Roman has confirmed they will be sold. He's confirmed the sale of the club is going to happen. That is what he has confirmed. He confirms Chelsea the selling of the club. That has been done. That has been dusted. He has released an official statement. Alex here says, whatever people's thoughts are on Abramovich, he came in and he won it all for passion. And he has now literally been put his head on the line against Putin by donating a practical 400 million to the Ukraine, is what Alex Fox has got to say about that. Terry, okay, that's a weird. Some of you write really weird things. New owners won't be blowing mad money every window, especially American owners. Trust me, we have FSG in charge. That's not how they build. And I understand it, but no one's going to be splashing crazy money like when Roman first came in, because FFP doesn't allow it to. So, look, there is definitely the possibility Chelsea could get a bad owner. There is a possibility they can match what they had under Roman. There's the possibility they get a better ownership in. We just don't know right now. Corrupt politicians going after Russians because their money laundering op in the Ukraine is at risk, is what Gotti Riaz has got to say about the matter there. That being said, Chelsea fans are worrying too much about what happens next. Roman Abramovich has made it clear he's only selling to someone who shares a similar love of the club. And I think that's very, very key indeed. I think that's very, very key indeed. And I get a feeling that maybe the UK government has said to Roman, we'll let you sell the club before we sanction you. If we sanction you. Boris Johnson and this government have a duty of care to Chelsea, for its employees, for its fans, for the businesses that accumulate for the local area hundreds of thousands, millions of pounds a year of revenue a year for the government and for the economy of this country. Not for the government, but for the economy of this country. Just to start damaging those elements is very, very poor. You have to think about the longer term effects as well. Supporting other nations is key, but you also have to protect your interests at home as well. There's no doubt about it. So, Terry, he won't be asking for any debts to be repaid back. This is true. So there's a £1.5 million debt on paper owed to Roman Abramovich, or a sister company of Chelsea Football Club. He is not calling that in. He is not asking for that money to be repaid. He isn't. So that's done. That's started. That's over the line. Nothing's going to happen in relation to that. I mean, Chelsea themselves kick off in about 15 minutes, don't they? They pretty much... I swear that's in about 15 minutes' time they kick off.
Oh, God.
I could be wrong. Sorry, that was a UFC channel I was watching. I say UFC. I was watching a UFC thing earlier. Is it about 15 minutes' time that game kicks off? Yeah. Does this mean no more Cech and Marina? Well, this is, Alex, that's a really good point. We don't know yet. That would be more of a fear to me as a Chelsea fan than the new owners per se, who they look to bring in and run the club. Overhauling all of that could be an issue. Yeah. It was Chow. Yeah, that's what I was listening to. And I clicked on the wrong link and the video opened. So that's all it was. Relax. I like him. He's a good guy. FFP. What does it say here? FFP allowed him to inject 1.5 billion though. Well, it didn't, did it? Because I think I read somewhere that something like 75% of that came in before FFP. And he's able to pump in between 20 and 30 million pound a year. So more than that, maybe it's higher. Maybe about 80% came in before FFP existed, my friend. So no, during FFP, he wasn't able to put in 1.5 billion pound of his own money. That is a lie or misinformation that you were given by someone. People that don't do you know what happens? There's always a lot of misinformation about the finances around football because people choose to listen to journalists over the financial experts or other YouTubers over financial experts. People that have worked in football finance, people who are literally consulted by the football clubs to help them with their finances. People that believe net spend is real will often believe what that guy has just put in there. Listen to the experts. You can challenge an expert, but only with another fact. Like when they tell you this is how these things work, listen to them because they know more than YouTubers. And I put myself in that. But there we go. Let's say we had a Russian manager in the Prem, or let's say Conte was Russian. Would that mean he had to leave as well? Potentially. And as I say, I've got friends that still work in the banking industry. I've been talking to them. One of the banks that a friend of mine works for, my friend who works for a particular bank from today, no activity at all with Russian accounts. Russian people that have like bog standard retail accounts, they're being monitored for the activities in their accounts, but essentially it's right across the board. Anybody coming in of high net worth, anyone of high net worth, anybody who's politically exposed, what they call a PEP, so a politically exposed person, any business transactions that are going on where, involving Russian businesses where money will at some point touch Russia is done. If somebody is Russian but wants to send money back, say they bank with HSBC right now and they want to send some money back to their mother, they're not allowed to do that. These things are all coming into play as we speak right across the board. If Russian managers and Russian players, there's not very many here. It depends on their situation and who they're connected to. So not all Russian people are sanctioned. It's where they send and move their money to. Certain Russian people are being sanctioned because of their personal connection to Putin in basic layman's terms as that stands. You got to remember there are sanctioned countries where, there's Syrian people that live in the UK. Syria is a sanctioned country, but you can come move to the UK, live here, and have a bank account here. What you can't do is send money back to Syria, as an example. So yeah, research how financial sanctioning works. It will make a lot more sense to you. Yeah, well, you are right about that. Russian nationals can't hold more than 50K. Like I was saying, bog standard, normal retail people, they can't do that. In my old department, we had a number of Russian clients that I have no idea what they're doing. I haven't even reached out to them, but I can imagine right now it's 60 to 90 day issue notice to close is being issued on accounts is what I would expect. Conspiracy theory: Roman forced to give proceeds to Ukraine in exchange for no sanctions. Politics will always be dirty. Character doesn't change at 50. I mean, look, maybe that was the case. And maybe Roman's up. If I'm not sanctioned, that means I could still be involved in multiple other business, ventures within the SWIFT system, within these countries. In his longer term for him, that might be a better option for him. I won't call it a conspiracy theory. It may just be a deal that benefits the Ukrainian people. I'm going to just go with the fact that Roman's doing it off his own bat because that's all we know. There is no evidence to suggest anything other than that. But yeah, either way, the people of the Ukraine will benefit from that. Terry is loving this. No, not really. I'm not celebrating this. I don't think it's the right time to celebrate. It doesn't feel like something to celebrate for me personally. It really, really doesn't. But look, a short stream from me because the football is about to start. I just wanted to put this out there because the news has just broke. But Roman Abramovich, as we know, has confirmed via a club statement that's been put out today that Chelsea Football Club will be sold, that Chelsea Football Club will no longer belong to him as soon as a new buyer has been found. This club statement has gone out. He says it all here, as you can see. He says, I've always taken the heart in the current situation. I am therefore taking the decision to sell the club as I believe it's within the best interest of the club, the fans, the employees, as well as the club sponsors and partners. And that's also an important thing to remember as well here, very quickly before I leave. Very, very quickly. The sponsors and partners are the reason that Chelsea don't need Roman's money. The commercial income is the reason that Chelsea don't need Roman's money per se anymore. If Roman stayed as owner, even if they weren't sanctioned, you would find with the culture we now live in, sponsors may be forced to walk away. And if the sponsors walk away and new ones don't come in and commercial revenue drops, that's more damaging than Roman Abramovich not being the owner of Chelsea. Far more damaging. Losing a shirt sponsor, an airline sponsor, a mobile phone sponsor, and a watch sponsor would be financially more detrimental now to Chelsea than Roman leaving. So it's very, very important to remember that he is taking this decision for the best interest of the club. There's no doubt. Everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless.